As I've mentioned time and again that music and dance are inseparable, Natya Shastram, which also has huge elements of music, is basically a Shastram for dance. Bhava Raga Talam, Bhavam, the emotion that one showcases with respect to the Ragam and the Talam, is Bhava Raga Talam Bhārata. So Bharata Muni was the earliest recorded rishi who gave us the Bharata Natya Shastra. So Natya Shastram was given to us by Bharata Muni. Prior to that, in especially Sri Mahābhāratam, we come across mentions and promotion of Bharatiya dance, which is Natyam. Instead of using the word dance, it is better to use the word Natyam, because dance is anything, but Natyam is a science. Nevertheless, that we have been used to the English words, I am using the word dance, but please understand that dance and Natyam are not one and the same, like how sound and Nadam is not one and the same. So we have Arjuna, who in his year of Ajñātavāsam becomes the dance teacher, Natyam teacher, to the princess of Matsyadesham called Uttara. And he is said to have learnt this from his acharyas while he was in Swargalokam, Amaravati Pattinam, with his father, biological father Indra. Another important aspect that we need to see is dance or Natyam is not new to us today, because Lord Shiva is known to be the very creator of this form of dance. His Tandavam we should not associate only with a violent form of dance. Tandavam can be of various emotions. Ananda Tandavam is important. So Tandava is a certain style of dance which was propagated by Shiva, which was later popularized by various dance gurus. So right from our Puranic times, Mahābhārata times, Lord Krishna dancing on Kalinga, the snake, all this brings forth that dance is not new to our culture. Dance has been as old as how the civilization is. Nevertheless, when research scholars distribute dance, they distribute it into prehistoric and proto-historic times. One dealing with the times of the Purānās, the Vedās, the Upanishads and the Smritis, and then they come to the period of the 2nd century BC to the 9th century AD, and then from the 10th, 11th century AD to the 18th century AD. This is how they split. And generally Natyam as a style of dance uses your entire body in various forms. For example, there is a Vachika. There are dance forms where they speak, sing and dance. It looks like a combination of Natakam and Natyam. Where there are dance forms where somebody else sings and expressions are alone shown by the dancer. So there is Angam that is involved. There is Vachikam that is involved. Then there is dress. The attire that one wears is also very important. The jewelry, the way they showcase their attire is also important, because it's a visual art. Unlike Sangeetam, which is more audio in perspective, here it is video, it is visual in nature. So, and largely dances or dance forms were deployed to induce Sattva Gunam amongst its followers or listeners. So, besides the Natya Shastram of Bharata Muni, Karpura Manjari, one of the earliest dramas, deploys how Natyam came in collaboration with Sangeeta Shastram. Then there is this Abhinaya Darpana by Nandikeshwara, and the commentary to the Natya Shastram by Abhinava Gupta in Kashmiram reached various quarters of Bharata Desham. So, Natya Shastram, it came up with various Karanas, various body movements and frozen movements which determine a certain emotion. So it is said that there are many various Karanas, there are 108, and there are Shastrams that say that there are many more than 108 Karanas. So we will now watch the depiction of Karanas by the stalwart in Bharatanatyam Shastram, Vidushi Padma Subramaniam, who showcases the various Karanas, and these have been showcased in the temple Gopuram walls. If you visit the Kshetram of Chidambaram, Sharangapani in Kumbhakonam, or Tiruvannamalai in near probably you can take it as Chennai or Viluppuram in the state of Tamil Nadu, you will see that these dance movements have been frozen in granite in the times of the kings. And with respect to the evidences available as to whether the kings patronized dance, we have inscriptions that denote 1000 years before that Rajaraja Chola, the greatest of the Chola kings, had deployed dancers in the temples so that they can dance before Lord Shiva and the public. It was a source of infotainment, information and entertainment, and majorly used as a channel for devotion. So, in the Natya Shastram, as much as Harikathas and bhajans used to invoke the emotion, and that emotion had to be showcased, we had commoners also getting trained and showcasing such emotions during a storytelling. So it was not used as only an independent art, but it also was intertwined with the storytelling to engage the commoners. So in the Tamil Nadu tradition, the Tanjavur quartet during the times of Maratha kings and later are said to have played an important role in systemizing or bringing forth a formal way, a structured way of learning and imparting Bharatanatyam dance form. So, that being said of dance, we need to understand how dance is associated with bhakti. Ultimately, in a course like Bhāratiya Sāra Bodhani, I am not here to teach you dance, but here I am here to remove certain misconceptions of dance. Natya Shastram, by certain research scholars from the West, who may have had an ulterior motive, time and again raised in their research articles that it was used as a means to lure the kings of those days, which is absolutely wrong. There are overwhelming evidences which only state that Natya Shastram was used to induce bhakti and to take the essence of the scriptures, which could have not been easily comprehensible to the masses, to the commoners, to take the essence of the scriptures to the public. So, time and again, Natyam should be thought of only as one of the easiest tools to attain Paramatma Sakshatkaram. It is a beautiful form of meditation and worship to God. So, Natya Shastram or Sangeeta Shastram being used as tools of entertainment, yes, they could be tools of entertainment like how it is seen today, but more than entertainment, it was a channel to understand the essence of the scriptures, easily that could be taken to the masses, and that which could also be used for self realization and Paramatma Sakshatkaram to attain moksha. So, Sangeetam and Natyam, the way they have been presented to us by our ancestors, I am not talking about ancestors of 100 or 200 years of time, thousands of years. So, we had a Natya Shastram that formalized how each of the Karanas should be when most nations never existed. You didn't have a North America, you had the land mass, but you didn't have a civilization there. When most civilizations didn't exist, when more habitats didn't exist. So, when there was no civilization, let's forget about literature in those areas. Here in Bharata Desham, 2000 years before, when most nations, most civilizations, most inventions didn't happen, here there was a Bharata Muni who was telling what each Karana meant. So, there was a formal way of learning Natya Shastram 2000 years before. So, imagine, because if a book has to be born, if a compendium has to come related to say Sangeeta Shastram or Natya Shastram, how many years before that, how many millenniums before that the art must have begun in a crude form and then got formalized, further civilized to come into a compendium, a book. So, it's only after a lot of R&D that a product comes with a manual, right? Similarly, if music and dance, which is Sangeetam and Natyam, has come into a compendium 2000 years before, how many thousand years before that must have this system of Natyam and Sangeetam started?